I survived a heart attack. The next week I found texts on my wife's phone hoping I wouldn't, but I didn't raise my voice. I raised my standards, and I let the truth do the talking. Thank you for listening. If this story resonated with you, leave a comment below and subscribe to this channel for more infidelity stories and cheating wife stories on YouTube. My name is Mark. I'm 58 in this story, 59 now. For 32 years, my wife, Emily, and I built what looked like a sturdy life in Franklin, Tennessee, just south of Nashville. 2 grown kids, Mason and Claire. A blue-shuttered house we painted ourselves. A grill that got more use than our dining room table. The usual American dream with crabgrass and HOA emails. I worked in industrial controls. She worked per diem at a clinic. The heart attack hit me at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday, halfway through my walk along the Harpeth. One second I'm thinking about replacing the porch light. The next, I'm hugging gravel, tasting iron, listening to sirens that sound both too close and too far away. In the cardiac step-down unit, everything was antiseptic and humming. A C-vents, blood pressure cuffs, a monitor that beeped like it was nagging me to keep living. Emily never left. She combed my hair with her fingers, joked about hospital jello, and told me, "We've got this." I wanted to believe her. On my second night home, in our bedroom that smelled like clean sheets and eucalyptus, I did. But little things started misbehaving. Her phone, always face down. New passwords around the house. A book club that met twice a week, although Emily's never finished a book without a high school teacher assigning it. I told myself stress makes couples weird. Marriage is a buffet. You take the good, you tolerate the cold sides. Then, one evening while she showered, a notification flashed across her screen. Too bright, too brazen to ignore. The name read, Rick. The message preview said, "He's getting stronger. We need to be more careful about." And then the steam fogged the rest. My chest didn't seize. My instincts did. Rick was Emily's college boyfriend, the one who wasn't ready for real life, the one who always seemed to boomerang back in stories about those days. I set the phone down like it was radioactive. I stood in the kitchen and listened to the shower pound tile, counting my heartbeat until it stopped trying to run away without me. You don't survive a heart attack by ignoring alarms. The next morning, I started paying attention without making a sound. When Emily left for yoga, I called the studio. Friendly voice, small-town politeness. "We don't have anyone by that name on the roster." Huh. Later, she said she'd seen her sister. Her sister, on speaker, laughed and asked how we were doing because she hadn't seen us since Easter. Huh, again. That night, Emily placed my meds in a neat line and kissed my forehead like a nurse sealing a chart. I swallowed and watched her eyes. They were kind, but they were elsewhere. I began a quiet notebook. Dates, times, simple facts. No theories, no dramatics. I took screenshots of the calendar she left open on her tablet. Blocks labeled BC that didn't line up with any book club. I installed nothing. I crossed no illegal lines. I just paid attention. The second receipt arrived by accident. Emily's phone slipped from her pocket while she was helping me sit up. The screen spiderwebbed, but it lit. A text from Rick appeared, and I read what I can never unread. "Can't wait to hold you again. Once he's fully recovered, we can finally be together properly." I scrolled just enough to watch my marriage deflate. Months of messages, plans sketched in winks and half words, and then a line that sent a colder chill through me than the ICU ever did. "If something happens during recovery, you're a widow with a clear conscience. No messy divorce." That didn't sound like romance. That sounded like relief. If I disappeared. I took photos of the screen with my old backup phone, then emailed them to a locked account titled Documents. I didn't yell. I sat. I breathed. Because now I knew what I was dealing with. From other messages, I learned they'd met in the hospital parking garage during breaks. She wrote, "He trusts me completely. He sent back, "Maybe that's for the best." There is exhaustion a heart can recover from. And there is exhaustion of the soul. I felt both. I thought that was the bottom. It wasn't. 2 days later, Emily announced another book club. I waited 20 minutes, then drove, slowly, carefully, to a complex off Murfreesboro Road where Rick rented. Her car was in guest parking. I sat across the street with a bottle of water and a paper bag, in case the anxiety turned my breathing into a paper bag situation. At 3 p.m., the balcony door slid open. There they were. Emily, in the red dress I'd bought for our 30th anniversary, his hands familiar with what wasn't his. She laughed the laugh she used to save for me. That dress used to mean promise. Now it meant proof. I lifted my phone once, one photo. Then I drove home on side streets because the interstate felt too honest. I put the picture in the documents folder with the others and sat at our kitchen table while the neighbor's dog barked at shadows. I felt like a shadow. Grief wants noise. Dignity prefers silence. The next morning, while Emily did not attend yoga, I called an attorney, Ms. Jackson, whose reviews all said calm and thorough. I brought my little notebook and a single manila envelope. On her conference table, my hands looked older than last year. She asked 3 questions. Are you safe? Do you want out? Do you want this to hold up? Yes. Yes. And absolutely. We did not drown in jargon. We sketched a plan. Immediate safeguards. No new joint debts. No sudden transfers. Freeze discretionary cards. Evidence packet. Printouts of messages with visible timestamps. The balcony photo. A brief timeline. No editorializing. Just facts. Exit strategy. A modest apartment lease in my name only. A P.O. box. A moving date that coincided with my release to light activity, so it wouldn't seem abrupt. That afternoon, I called Mason and Claire separately. No mudslinging. Your mom and I are going through something serious. I'm okay, but I'm going to take a step back and heal. Claire's voice trembled. Dad, are you sure? She's been so attentive I told her the plainest truth I could stand to say. Sometimes the person bringing your pills is the same person hoping you stop taking them. Then I changed the subject to her new job. She cried. We made a plan for breakfast the following week. I hung up and sat in the driveway until the sun slipped behind the oaks. I wasn't going to confront Emily. I was going to replace confrontation with documentation. For the next 4 days, I let the house become a stage. I played my part. I took walks around the block with a heart monitor. I thanked her for soup. I put my pillbox where she could see it, then quietly verified every dosage in the bathroom with the door cracked, not because I had evidence of tampering, but because my trust was on hospice care. When Emily left for her next appointment with fiction, I loaded 3 boxes into my truck: clothes, my father's watch, the waterproof folder with my medical file. I left the wedding album in the closet. I took the photo of the 4 of us at Percy Warner Park and put it face down so I wouldn't see the life version of me who didn't know better yet. On the kitchen table, I placed a neat stack: divorce papers, signed, a single printed photo of the balcony, and a short, typed line. I know, I won't be here when you get back. I didn't add a forwarding address. I didn't add a lecture. I added nothing she could argue with. Then I locked the door behind me and nodded at the closed-up peonies by the porch. They hadn't thrived this summer. Neither had we. But quiet exits don't stay quiet when the truth has paperwork. 2 weeks later, Emily sat across from me and Miss Jackson in a glass-walled conference room that smelled like toner and lemon cleaner. She arrived with an attorney who shuffled papers loudly. Emily wore that same red dress with a cardigan, as if the sweater could put the genie back in the bottle. Her opening line was the one I expected. He abandoned me during his recovery. The other attorney nodded sympathetically and said words like instability and impulsive choice. Miss Jackson slid our evidence packet across the table like she was dealing a calm hand of cards. Page 1. the timeline with dates I could recite in my sleep. Page 2. The text excerpts with the messages about me getting stronger and them needing to be more careful. Page 3. The lines about a widow with a clear conscience. Page 4. The balcony photo, time-stamped, geotagged, red dress brighter on glossy paper than it had been in person. Emily's lawyer stopped shuffling. Emily stopped breathing out loud. No one raised a voice. No one threw anything. There was only the sound of paper and the long, embarrassed silence that follows a loud lie. We moved to terms. I didn't weaponize the kids. I didn't ask for the house. I asked for peace, a fair split, and an end date. When Emily tried to salvage narrative, Ms. Jackson turned another page and pointed to another screenshot where Rick had missed the romance and typed the logistics of my absence. That ended the salvage operation. Public? It wasn't a courtroom with an audience, but it was official air, fluorescent lit and documented, a place where the truth stands up straight. That morning, before mediation, I had mailed a duplicate evidence packet to Rick's wife at her workplace, certified, signature required, because symmetry matters, and so does clarity. I didn't scribble a note. I let the inbox of facts do the speaking. When we broke for lunch, Emily checked her phone and went white. I'm not proud that I noticed. I'm honest about it. Consequences travel faster than apologies. Rumors always lag the truth. In the following weeks, Emily told friends I'd snapped after the heart attack, that my medication made me paranoid. The thing about paper, though? Paper doesn't take sides. The red dress photo found its way into the hands that needed to see it. So did the widow with a clear conscience line. I never posted anything. I kept walking my half-mile loop and minding my sodium. Rick moved, people said, for work. His wife filed something firmer than a rumor. Emily stayed in the house for a while, then listed it because the numbers didn't stretch to cover a mortgaged fairy tale. I didn't attend any open houses. I didn't answer curious texts. I bought a used recliner that didn't match anything, and a coffee maker that only knows how to make coffee. My apartment sits off a quiet road not far from the Natchez Trace Parkway Bridge, where the sunsets are dramatic enough to make a cynic stare out the window a minute longer than he planned. I keep a plant alive, badly. I walk 10,000 steps most days because my cardiologist smiles when I say that number. I put my pillbox on the table and fill it myself. The beeping is gone, both in the room and in my head. The truth is, I don't miss the marriage I had at the end. I miss the marriage I thought we had for 32 years. But grief for a story is not the same as grief for a person. That distinction saved me. I talk to Mason and Claire about real things now. Taxes, tire rotations, the fact that forgiveness and permission are different beasts. We don't gossip about their mother. We don't pretend sunshine. We practice weather, honest forecasts, sturdy umbrellas. What did I learn? That quiet can be the loudest answer. That dignity is heavier to lift than anger, but keeps longer once you've got it off the floor. That if someone turns your vulnerability into their opportunity, you don't have to give them an audience. You can give them evidence. Then you can give yourself a life. The heart is a muscle. Muscles rebuild with stress and rest. I chose both. I did the stress of leaving and the rest of meaning it. And on a clear Sunday, I stood on my tiny balcony and watched the sun set, like it had been doing this whole time, whether or not I noticed. I lifted a cup of coffee, the cheap kind, the honest kind, and I said out loud, to no one in particular, on my terms. If this story moved you, like this video, and subscribe for more infidelity stories, cheating wife stories, lost love chronicles, and inspirational stories about finding the strength to start over.